Hello there, Facebook community. We've reached day 3 in my series of stress in our health. Just hopping back on here again live at 5 to go over a couple of things that I want to talk to you about. I had mentioned I'd be doing a series about stress in our health and some ways that we can improve or minimize the stress in our lives and what we can do to help better take care of ourselves. So I wanted to, talk to you a little bit about some of those things here. Thanks for those of you hopping on. I certainly appreciate the support. I did make sure I turned my phone on to Do Not Disturb, so my kiddos should not be interrupting here today. Also, I do want to, just share with you that I myself have, a great deal of stress, even trying to learn this new journey that I'm approaching and trying to take on, and I'll be honest with you, my technical skills are awful. A couple of you that I'm good friends with know all about that, and I'll admit I do struggle with that. So hopefully in time I will minimize my own stress as I learn to utilize technology these days. So good thing I have children, because they certainly can be helpful as well. So today I wanted to talk about the effects of stress and our sleep. I hear that quite often, that oh, I can't sleep, I'm under a lot of stress, it's keeping me up all night, my mind keeps going. I'm sure many of you can relate to some of those things. So short of feeling irritable, moody during the day when we don't sleep well at night, lack of sleep, especially when it's chronic and long-term, really can affect our health. As I mentioned previously, and as I'm sure many of you probably know, but lack of sleep and increased stress actually increases our risk of heart disease, increases our risk for blood pressure, as well as diabetes and even obesity. So pretty significant health concerns with prolonged stress. As my life is, as I'm sure many of yours are, stress is part of our everyday life. We can't eliminate it. We can certainly try to minimize it a little bit. We can't control things that happen to us, people around us, but what we can control is how we react or things we do for ourselves to help minimize that stress. And that's kind of, my take on my whole health and fitness journey, is really to help improve, our for lack of better words, I guess, how we just basically take care of ourselves and making time for ourselves, especially, busy moms, even busy dads, between work and kids and activities and everything else we have going on, we often neglect ourselves. So it's important that we really, tune into that and start making ourselves a priority, because, really we need to take care of ourselves so we can take care of those that we need to take care of. Check to look here at my notes. So what I want to go over here just briefly is some of the ways that we can help minimize or eliminate stress. And certainly one way I found and is extremely beneficial for myself is daily exercise. Several of you who've been following me probably are already, seeing that and knowing that. And I promise you, I am not always gung-ho to get up and do it. I am not always motivated, but I do it because it does help me feel better. It helps me start out my day better and, keep my energy and focus where it needs to be to get through my day, whether that's at work or with my children, combination, whatever it may be. So certainly daily exercise is important. You can listen to some calming music if exercise is not your thing. Reading a book always helps, and even a new interest of mine that seems to be, more popular, or pretty popular from what I hear, is the use of essential oils. So I will be talking about that separately as we move forward with this series, because I really do have a strong interest in that, learning for myself as well as sharing with others, because I do like the non-traditional lack of medication approach. Even though I am a physician assistant and we prescribe, I really see the benefits of doing non-traditional type medicine to take care of ourselves. Less side effects, less costs, co-pays, all that type of thing. So, I am going to be talking a little bit more about that. And then certainly, finally, we need to talk a little bit about sleep. which is, lack of sleep is a big concern for many of us. Admittedly, not a big problem for myself, but I do know many do struggle with this. And, whether it's the stress causing you not to be able to sleep or the lack of sleep causing you the stress, either way, it doesn't really matter. You have the stress and you have the risks that come along with that. So some things that you can do to help improve your sleep is, certainly try to set a regular bedtime and also a regular time for getting up in the morning. And that does include weekends. I know that sounds rough and nothing we like to hear, but really if you're struggling with trouble sleeping, you really do want to try to find a routine that works for you and stick to it 7 days a week. And you will find over time that is helpful. Also, avoid watching TV in bed, and yes, you need to avoid scrolling through social media. I am definitely guilty of that one. So, that's a big thing. The stimulation from the computers and the lights, etc., keeps our minds going. So that is one thing you can try to do, is minimize your use of computers and social media before going to bed. Sometimes reading a book, calming music at that time as well, and also essential oils. Again, I'll be talking more about that later. So those are a couple of my tips on how we can take care of ourselves, improve our stress and our anxiety, and help get better night's sleep. I will be doing this topic as well into a blog, which I will post to Facebook later on this evening. For those of you who are interested, feel free to hop onto my Facebook page, hopefully sooner than later. Hopefully it doesn't take a long process like it did last night for me to get that all together. I plan on doing that here momentarily. So a little bit later on, check for that, read through it, and certainly any comments, constructive criticism is always welcome. I certainly appreciate everybody's support. So on that note, finally Friday, and better yet, 5 o'clock on finally Friday. So have a great weekend, relax, take care of yourself, and yes, I will be tuning in again tomorrow, live at 5.